to record. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have with me today Rabbi Leon, and he has a wealth of knowledge about the origins of humanity and the minds behind the phenomena. So who's driving the UFOs? Who's driving those lights in the sky? And so I'm really curious to hear what the rabbi has to say, because man, I know you guys are going to love it as well. So Rabbi, please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Leon Ariel Mellul. I am a Raelian chief rabbi, and I have been brought up in a religious traditional family, very well known in North Africa, in Morocco, for Sephardic Jew with a lot of traditions and a lot of knowledge on Judaism. And I always had questions since I was a child, but never got the right answers. So I continue my life as a traditional Jew, celebrating all the festivities and according exactly to the halakha, which is a Jewish tradition. And one day in 87, sorry, I come across with a book which is called Intelligent Design, that can be downloaded for free on rael.org. And this book changed my life. Not only enlightened my life, but I come to, it answered all my questions, and it was a revelation for me. A revelation because to be a Jew and to know those who we have been praying without knowing who they are. They are our creators from space. And they're called Elohim in the Hebrew original Bible, which is the Tanakh and other Hebrew scripts. And these Elohim came to Earth about 25,000 years ago and start creating all kinds of life with genetic manipulations of DNA.
Wow.
Then they start progressing and doing laboratories of creation of life. The first one was where the Wailing Wall is today, and the Mosque of Al-Aqsa. The second one was in Egypt, in the pyramids, because the pyramids were a laboratory of creation of life. And that's the main reason why all the pharaohs, after their death, they want to be buried there, knowing that that was a laboratory of creation of life. Then they thought they will be recreated after the death to live eternally, because they knew the Elohim had that laboratory of creation of life inside the pyramids, but the Elohim have left before that, so it was not, they were not recreated necessarily in a laboratory of creation of life. Then these Elohim have made a contest among all the laboratories, which they had. They created 7 races, but before creating human beings, they have created all plants, all flowers, all animals. They were designed by artists and made alive with genetic manipulations of DNA, with beautiful colors and sounds and flowers and smell and all that. And finally, after 13,000 years, they created man to their image and their likeness, like it's written in Bereshit 6:2, which is the Genesis. On December 13, 1973, they have telepathically induced a man that was in the center of France, who was called Claude Vorillon. He was telepathically induced to go to the Puy de la Sola, which is an ancient volcano. He was driving to his office as he was busy, and he was running a sport car magazine. Then he felt the urge to go there, and all of a sudden, when he arrived, he stopped his car, climbing because it's quite high. He came down to the center of the volcano, and then he asked himself, what I'm doing here? It's cold, I'm coming here with my family for picnic on summertime, and now I'm here on December 13, and it's cold. What I'm doing here? I have work to do. So all of a sudden, he saw something shining in the skies, 2 lights, one up and one down. And he saw the engine coming down. He thought it was an helicopter at the beginning. Then he realized that there was no noise or whatever. and the UFO landed very slowly, not far from him, and a ladder opened, and then he saw two legs coming down, and then he freaked out because he said, well, if I had a camera or something, I was going to take a picture because nobody will believe me, and it's fantastic for a journalist to have this picture of what's happening right here. So he decided not to move. He told to himself, maybe they will think I am a tree or something, so they will not hurt me, And then he saw two legs coming down and a small body, like about 5 feet high, a very shiny face, full of love, no weapons, nothing in the hands, no. And he was arriving close to him. And then he, as a journalist, and he speaks French, he asked the extraterrestrial, do you speak French? Then the extraterrestrial replied to him, I speak all languages on the world. Mm. Wow. And do you come here often? This Claude Vorillon asked him, do you come here often? Then he replied, I come here many times. And today I come to meet with you because we telepathically induce you to come here. Your name is Claude Vorillon, you're married, you have 2 children, and you are running a sport car magazine. And we have a great message to give you to humanity, that you will address to humanity. And he told him, about 3 weeks ago, we asked you to buy a Bible, which the word Elohim have not been translated as God, which goes in Hebrew, in ancient Hebrew, Elohim means those who come from the skies.
Right.
He invited him to his craft, and they sit, and he told him, well, you're going to come here for 6 days without telling anything to anyone, because we have been following you even before you were born. And if you tell something to someone, we will not meet again. So told him, no objects, nothing, no metallic objects. You have to come here with a pen and a pad, and then we will give you a message to humanity. And the message is as follows. Over 25,000 years ago, we came to your planet, and we created all life with genetic manipulations of DNA. After that, we sent all prophets from all religions. Among the most important ones, Moses, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, Joseph Smith, and many others, because there were 40 prophets that were sent to Israel at that time. Then, when we arrived in 1945, we had the Hiroshima bomb, and then they decide to intervene and send the last messenger, who is this man named Claude Vorillon, to whom they give the name of Rael. Then they give him the opportunity. They say, well, now you have reached the age of revelation, which means the age of apocalypse, which means revelation and not destruction. And it's time that you people come to a stage that you can either be pacifist and help each other and love each other. Otherwise, you're going to destruct yourselves. And we don't want the atomic bomb on Hiroshima to happen then again on the planet that we created all lives and made it so beautiful for you. Because we have been created, we created you, and you will create another life on another planet.
Wow.
So after that, they told him, we're going to give you the name of Rael, which is the root of the word Israel. And we have 2 mandates for you. The first one is to spread the message worldwide. And the second one is to build us an embassy, preferably close to Jerusalem, which is a third temple where the Jewish people are wanted to build. And this temple is not just a place just to pray, is to welcome our creators from space, the Elohim, that they want to come with all prophets of all. Since then, these men started traveling, spreading their messages, and so. That was about over almost 50 years ago. December 13, it will be 50 years ago that this man started traveling and spreading their message. And we have been working a lot to send to all governments, especially to the state of Israel, request to build this third temple, which is the embassy that the Elohim requested. But this have to be with an extraterritoriality status, because they don't want to be attacked. They want to be welcome here, that we could understand, and stop believing and start understanding who created us. They don't want any more religions. They don't want any more prayers. They want people that are clever enough to understand. And we have reached the time now to understand and stop believing. And this is why since 1987, I come across with this book, which is Intelligent Design. And it was a revelation for me. It was a revelation that changed my life. I decided to help Rael in his mission. Then I start giving lectures, starting in Montreal, where I used to live. Then I traveled to New York, Miami, give lectures there, then to Europe, France, Switzerland, Belgium, Italy, everywhere, and also to Turkey, to Istanbul. And then I decided after a couple of years after, in 1998, I decided to go to live in Israel and build and establish the Raelian movement there. But prior to that, in 1993, as I am a spokesperson for Rael, who is the long-awaited Messiah that people are waiting for, and especially the Jewish people are waiting for, I was in Jerusalem and blew up the shofar, which is the ram horn, close to the Wailing Wall, according to the Jewish tradition, to announce the Messiah. And since then, about 35 years ago, since the last 35 years, I'm here to spread the message among Jewish and Muslim communities and all communities worldwide, because this message is of the utmost importance to humanity, and especially to the people of Israel. Because the only reason why the people of Israel had their land is because they need to build this third temple and welcome the Elohim. Now, if they don't want to recognize the last messenger, which is the long-awaited Messiah, and welcome our creators from space, who are the Elohim, they have no reason to keep that land, and it will be another diaspora. Israel will be invited once again, if they don't accept to give this piece of land with extraterritoriality status and welcome our creators, the Elohim, which they have them in their book. And I have citations from the Tanakh and many other Hebrew scripts where I bring them out during my lectures that are irrefutable. And nobody can say this is not right, because it's always mentioned Elohim in plural. It mentions that they're civilization and that they come from another planet.
That's a lot. You do. That is a heavy message. What you just said, all that what you said is heavy.
Message, but it's time, humanity will understand and wake up. Because if we continue like that with crazy people fighting each other and making bombs and trying to make wars and all that, we have 99.5 chances to auto-destruct ourselves.
Right. Which is a message that
we want to avoid.
That is actually a message that has been repeated throughout the experiencer phenomena, even myself. Because I used to have when I first had my encounters, I had apocalyptic dreams afterwards. And I just heard, and again, this is a common theme in the abduction phenomena, the experiencer phenomena, is visions of, like the Ariel school in Zimbabwe, of a coming catastrophe brought on by human beings and our thirst for war and weaponry and acquisition of power. So it's really interesting. And this idea of the Elohim, I've heard that before. I've heard the term Elohim. This I didn't understand the place that it had in the biblical text, but I'm glad that you clarified that for us here. I see your works though. You have your books are free. All of your books are free.
All our books are for free, downloads for free on rael.org, and in all languages because they're translated in all languages.
I'll be providing links to all this information on the description of the video. So people will be able to collect the contact, go to your website and get your books. The fact that they're free is a big deal. That's a big deal. You don't give intellectual property like that out for free unless you really believe in what you're doing.
Of course, we're not asking for money like any religions who sell their books. They're for free to everyone, and you can have it on my backstage screen. The name is there, rael.org, and anyone can download books for free. All of them. There are plenty of books.
And audio versions too?
Sorry?
You have audiobook versions as well. That's from what I see.
Well, yeah.
That is amazing.
Design, you have, which is composed by 3 books. The second book was mentioned, which is Inside, is when Rael was taken to the Elohim planet on October 7. And then he met with other prophets who are created to live eternally among them, because the Elohim have 2 planets. One where all the Elohim live, and another one they created, which is the Garden of Eden, which in Hebrew is Gan Eden, which means the garden of DNA.
Wow.
And in that garden, many people who deserve have been recreated to live among them eternally. Now, the way it works is that after someone is dead, the Elohim have on their computers, because they're 25,000 years ahead of us, all the genetic codes of each and every individual that have born in our planet. So according to your life, according to the good that you have done to humanity, you will be recreated or not.
So if you don't, that's a good question I had for you. I apologize for interrupting. So the idea is that we were placed here for what purpose exactly? Why are we here in the first place?
We have been created as a humanity, and the story of Noah before the flood, the Elohim have found out that their experiment to make human beings, their experience was not very successsaw they decided to destroy their creation and start all over again, because they saw people since Cain and Abel killing each other.
Yeah.
And then all the aggressivity that we have, all the anger we have, all the lack of love, killing and not sharing and not loving each other. So they say, well, this creation is a flop. So we're doing these people, making them suffer for nothing. So let's destroy them and start all over again. And when you see some citations from the Tanakh, which is the original Bible in Hebrew, it doesn't say the ark was over the water. The ark lived upon earth, which means it was not a ship, because there is no ship and no vessel today that can carry so many animals, their food and all that. And so what happened then is that the Elohim put Noah and his family on a spaceship, and in a little box, they took cells from each and every animal that they cloned after the flood. This is the way they did it.
That makes more to me. I mean, honestly, it does make a lot of sense. The idea that you carry all of these animals physically, like every single body,
even today, with the biggest ship on earth, we're not able to carry so many animals. And according to the Bible, they were 2 of each, male and female, and some of them, they were 7. So impossible.
I've had a question that's perplexed me forever. In the English Bible, there's Genesis chapter 6, a pretty infamous, or famous, whatever, reference that people bring up, is the idea that these, in the English version, sons of God saw the daughters of men, and that
Yeah,
they were, they took them as wives and had children, and they were the Nephilim.
sure. Vayir'u b'nei Elohim et bnot Adam ki tovot henna in Hebrew, and the son of Elohim saw the woman of man, the woman of the earth, that they were beautiful, and they took them and they had children with them, and their children were the ones that were very famous. And the Nephilim is very, very interesting questions, because the Nephilim, when I give my lectures, especially to Jewish people, they always tell me, well, the Nephilim are giants. And the Nephilim, the word giants in Hebrew is Anakim. The word Nephilim comes from the word Nafol, which means those who fall down. Those who come down from heaven.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Can you, if you can you expand on that? Tell me more about this idea of the interbreeding, essentially, with the sons of God, the Elohim, Nephilim, whatever, and what that means and why. Just kind of give me an idea of what your thoughts are on that, please.
Well, when the Elohim start creating life, they had contest among they created 7 races. And they had contest among all these races. And one of them was the one in the region of the Middle East, was they were brighter and nicer looking and all that. So they took these people for, they took this woman to have children with them. And many of the verses of the Bible are mentioning that many women who were sterile and couldn't have children, they met with the men from Elohim, what they call angels, and they had children with them. Either they were artificially inseminated, like Mary, they say she was a virgin. Why she was a virgin? Now we can understand that probably she was artificially inseminated, because Jesus was the son of one of these Elohim, Eloha in singular, and woman of the earth. And the same for Moses. They say, well, he was from Miriam and Abraham and all that, and Yocheved. And no, Moses was the son of one of these extraterrestrial and an Egyptian princess.
Wow.
The same as Isaac, because Sarah was sterile as well.
Right.
And then he said, well, the 3 men that came and met with Abraham, they eat with him and all that. And he washed their feet because they were with dust. And then Sarah met with Yahweh. And then all of a sudden she got pregnant. And she was already 90. Wow.
Yeah, which is a...
Yeah, well, these people are 25,000 years ahead of us.
Of course.
So now we cannot even imagine the technology, but we can understand that through cloning, through insemination, you can have a bird.
Yeah, I mean, our technology is only 100 or so years old, and we've already developed up so many amazing things. Can you imagine what 25,000 years from now would look like? We can't
cannot even imagine, Marquise. Yeah. We cannot even imagine.
That's amazing. This is again, I appreciate this conversation, because I've always had questions about the biblical perspective about the phenomena, because I believe it's been around forever, since before us. I'm convinced they've been here before us. I mean, in the Bible, they say that the sons of God witnessed the creation of the world and the universe. They witnessed it.
No, they didn't create our planet, and they didn't create the universe. The universe is infinite.
They saw. Yeah, what I meant was okay, that's a good. So then you're saying that the universe and the world wasn't created.
No, it wasn't created, and it was no Big Bang. Life always existed in different forms. Okay. Now, to explain you better, if we go to an atom of one of our cells,
right?
Atom of one of our cells is an infinite universe where there are galaxies, where there are solar systems, planets.
Wow.
And in some planets, there is life. Exactly what we have outside of us. Because if one atom of one cell of someone that is alive, which is not a god, could be a cat, could be a worm, could be a plant, could
Right.
be something like that. One atom of this being that is alive is a universe where there are solar system, galaxies, solar system, planets, and we are in one of those planets. This is what we call the infinity large and the infinity small, which represent the two triangles in the Star of David. The Star of David represents the infinity small and the infinity large, which means everything that is inside us is outside us. And the swastika in the middle, that many people think is a Nazi symbol, have nothing to do with that. This is the oldest symbol on earth, is the symbol of the Elohim, and the swastika is in most of the temples, in Hindu temples and Asian
for
temples.
Peace, right? Isn't it like meant peace? I thought
it represents infinity in space. The Star of David, infinity in space, and the swastika represent infinity in time.
Okay. Yeah, I knew there was that meaning was stolen, obviously, by Nazis, and they changed it, but that's not the original meaning of it.
Of course not. Of course not. It's a symbol of peace and symbol of love.
Right. Wow. In your books, I'm gonna be. I just want you to know I will be delving into all of your material because this is a lot of interesting. I want to be. I enjoy engaging with this kind of information because we're trying to find out. The world is trying to find out what's going on. And I feel like there's a purpose to the presence of these beings. I mean, again, I feel like we are the created, the creation of something. And clearly they have the ability to manipulate us in every single way. So it wouldn't make sense that these could be the ones that created us. I mean, it does make sense.
Of course it makes sense. I mean, today it makes sense, but some people, unfortunately, not everyone is open-minded to understand or accept it, because most of the people that believe in God and believe in the soul, they need the two crashes to stand on their feet.
Right.
You take them out, I mean, they fall down. They have no purpose for them in life. They have no purpose. I mean, why I'm here? Why I'm born? Why am I going to die? Why we're living a crazy life, and we haven't been created to work like idiots and pay for everything we buy, or today we are the modern slaves in this humanity that we have to work to pay our debts, pay for your house, pay for your car, pay for credit cards. I mean, at the time of our ancestors, our grandparents, the person who had a house, it was paid. The ones who had car at the time of my grandfather, the car was paid. Today, everybody have cars, everybody have houses, everybody have wealth, but it doesn't belong to them. It belongs to the bank. And the system wants them to work like slaves to pay for that. With interest. Slaves. I mean, you put your money in the bank, and then you go to get your money. No. You have to tell us today. You go to the bank, and they ask you, what do you want your money for? You cannot take it in cash, it's against the law, but it's your money. And you can't, because they want to control everyone. They want that everybody will be in credit, in debts.
Do you think that system is going to? Do you think that
it's going to collapse?
Okay, that's what I was curious.
Definitely, it's going to collapse, because the end of this system is getting closer and closer, and the U.S. dollar, as you can see, it's going down, and
yeah, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. It's a big brand, but that might be the beginning of something better.
But it's not. We have to go through this in order to get to a better times, because we're living in the best area of the history of mankind. Our generation have seen beauty, have seen we had a good childhood. I mean, people from my age, and now we are witnessing the revelation, because the Elohim will come between 2025 and 2035, according to the message they gave to Rael.
I've heard this before. John Ramirez mentioned the date 2027 as the potential for an actual encounter with these beings.
Yeah, and you see so many governments now talking about extraterrestrial, so many crop circles, so many, things are revealing, and most we will see more and more sign on the skies.
This is
I mean,
interesting.
it's a fantastic revelation if we can all understand, and that we have all been created equal, without any racism, without any hate, without any, caring and sharing for each other. This is what we have been created for, and to enjoy life, to progress.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know you're going to say that this is the kind of love and the message about how humanity was meant. I mean, Michael Carter talked to me about the idea that we, about kind of what you're saying in terms of how humanity is and how things could be if we just, change the way that we treat each other, and of course solve this phenomenon instead of thinking of it as something we can war against, which is a joke. How can we possibly fight against something that has godlike powers, literally? Godlike powers, and we're thinking in technology, and we're thinking, oh, we're going to shoot lasers and nukes at it. Well, I mean, they literally hover over our nuclear explosions for the last 70 years. What makes us think we can hit them? It just doesn't make sense that we'll ever be able to fight against them. They need a new tactic.
This is what happened in the Tower of Babel.
The Tower of Babel. That was
Tower of Babel, of course. Yeah. And that was a missile that man built to go and fight with Elohim. And then when they used to do that, then the Elohim decided to mix all the languages that nobody could understand each other. And those who went from there and arrived to the coast of England, they remember a word that in Hebrew they saw some shacks from fishermen and, that were living there. And they remember a word in Hebrew that is Sukkot. Sukkot means a small shack that they do on one of the celebrations where the Jewish people were in the desert. So this is like a tradition, is one of the Jewish celebrations. And they remember this word, Sukkot, and they were in that land, so they call it Sukkot land, which is Scotland.
Oh, Scotland.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is where the word comes from.
Okay.
There are many Hebrew words in English that are exactly the same. Like if you take, for example, when Muhammad, the prophet of the Elohim, was traveling from Mecca to Medina, and from Medina to Jerusalem, and from Jerusalem to the skies, then they describe it as El Borak. El Borak was, for them, it was like a horse with wings, because the only way they had, the only transportation they had was either horses or camels. So they designed a horse with wings, like for angels, to specify who are, or to explain who are the people that used to fly. They made angels with wings. But I mean, it's a primitive way, like birds.
Right.
So to come back to this El Borak, in Hebrew, this word El Borak means maverick. Maverick is something shiny. And even in English, this word have been taken in the English language and means someone that is bright is maverick. Right?
People have been calling these things flying saucers, tic-tacs, right? These are like primitive representations of what they are. But it's almost like they appear to be what we need to see them as in the time. So before you say it was horses, and then there was flying ships, and there was even hats. They called them flying hats at one time, shields.
Well, they described them as such. They were not horses flying, and they were not angels with wings. They were
just
human
representation.
And it was a representation because they had no clue. I mean, how can someone who was a primitive without any knowledge of science or technology, they don't know, they didn't know even what was a bicycle. How can they describe a spaceship
Right,
or an
right.
airplane. I mean, for them, it was God coming down, and God was in the noise, and he was in the cloud and all that. And I will be pleased to send you all these verses, or some of them, from the original Hebrew Bible with the translation in English, that you can enjoy yourself with them. You will see all these verses from the Tanakh, from the Hebrew Bible.
I'm curious about the idea of life after death. So I hear what our purpose is on this earth. Essentially, it is to have peaceful communion with each other and with the Elohim, right?
To love and care to each other and understand today.
Right. And I honestly, again, the message is clear. I feel like if we don't do this, to your point, the civilization's not going to make it. I'm curious about life after death. Is there anything for us after we die?
Not for everyone. I'm going to shock too many people, but the Elohim have a special computer that evaluate all the good you have done in your life, all the positive you have done in your life. Mm-hmm. And if you deserve to be recreated to live eternally, then you will be recreated eternally. If not, you're simply, we were infinity before we were born. We are infinity right now, and we are back to infinity or in the same infinity after our death. Mm. So nothing will happen. There is no devil, or there is no hell. There is nothing like that. What you need to understand is that the Elohim have reached a certain technology today that, they live between 700 and 1,000 years. Like wow. They give this heritage to some of our people on our planet, our ancestors, like Noah, Matusalem, and also Hanok, which was one of their prophets, and they took him to their planet. Like
Enoch? Prophet. We're talking about Enoch? Is that how we pronounce?
Yeah, Enoch.
Okay, okay.
Hanok in Hebrew.
Hanok, okay.
Yeah. And Eli the prophet, that they say, well, there is a chariot of fire that took him to heaven and all that. I mean, they couldn't describe these people. Right. What was it?
This is amazing.
Yeah. Then I'm going to explain you a little bit, or try to explain how the Elohim create life. When their life is an expectancy between 700 and 1,000 years.
Right.
When someone, after those years, you can live in a young body for so many years without any problems, without any health problems or whatever.
Right.
Between 700 and 1,000 years, the body start, getting old all of a sudden. So they have now the technology, by removing one cell, they can reproduce the same human being through cloning.
And the consciousness continues?
Just a second. And then, as today we buy a new computer and we download our memory from the old computer into the new one. Right. The Elohim have the technology to download the technology of this and the knowledge of this old body into the new body.
Wow. So
these people can live eternally. And the one that we call Yahweh Elohim have been recreated 25 times because he's 25 years old. Hmm. And his name in Hebrew is Yehovah Vehaya, which means he was, he is, and he will be. And this is why he's eternal, because through cloning, they create the same human body, and then they download his memory, his souvenirs, his thought, all he knows, all his knowledge into the new body, and he can live for another 1,000 years.
I heard an experiencer named Linda Porter mentioned in her, and I mentioned her a lot, her experience where she was told by these tall Nordics, and she saw grays, and she saw all kinds of different beings, but they told her that they could essentially transfer her consciousness into a clone body, and she can keep reliving, like be recreated over and over again and not die. They offered her that opportunity.
Absolutely. So this is kind of when they took Rael into their planet, because Rael was not adopted, he was taken to their planet physically. They show him how they took a cell. They took a cell from his forehead, they reproduce the same human being. And to explain him how that was, when they took him to their planet, they explained that. And then he met with all the prophets that are living there.
Wow.
And
again,
I mean, it's a garden of Eden. It's a garden of DNA. So it's something very special that they have there. And maybe one day we will deserve to live there among them eternally. But we need to deserve it first and show that we are humans, because today, I don't think we deserve the name human anymore compared to what's happening to now.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree with you, because things are pretty grim. I try to try to be optimistic, but it's not looking so great.
Oh yeah, it's not easy, and it's not, it's sometimes unhuman when someone will tell me, well, we are humans. I say, well, we're unhumans. Animals are more humans than us.
More human, yeah.
They kill to eat, but they don't kill for pleasure. And they don't make weapons to kill each other like idiots. And we are destroying our nature, our planet, without having another one. So what kind of idiots are we? The world is run by a bunch of idiots.
That's for sure.
By a mafia. Sure. They put these governments who are puppets in power, and they tell them what to do. And they are the ones that hold the banks, because the banks finance the governments. And if they don't do whatever they want, either they kill them or they put them out. That's it. As simple as that. And they don't finance them, so they die. They are the ones that have all the weapons manufacturers as well. They have the ones that own all the medias and all the pharmaceutical industry. So they own the whole world. And we are their slaves. They take it or leave it. That's what we are, until we wake up and we say, stop. And it's time to stop believing and try to understand, and just asking ourselves one simple question for those who read the messages given by the Elohim to Rael, who is the last prophet and who is the long-awaited Messiah. In this book, when you read it, I mean, it's a revelation in it. It's a message from people that created us over 25,000 years ago. And now we are able to understand. And the way to progress is to follow the messages of the Elohim. And just after reading the book, there is only one question we can ask ourselves, because there is only one. What if it is the truth? As simple as that.
It doesn't seem like there's any harm. I mean, again, the harm is if we were to continue down the path we're on now and ignore what's in your books, for example, then there is only one conclusion, and that's the ultimate inevitable destruction of our entire planet and the human race and everything else too. There's a lot of life on this planet.
Unfortunately, that will be our end. Unfortunately. And we're trying to save humanity, and this is why also we organize, following Rael advice, we do meditations for peace. Every 59 minutes, we make 1 minute of meditation to send love to the entire humanity and to send love to all lives on Earth. And they also organize planetary meditations for peace, which are held the second Saturday of every 2 months. And we have 700-800 people joining us.
I want to talk. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Can join and help, send waves of energy and love to the humanity and all lives on Earth that will help save our humanity.
Let's talk about that. I'm gonna post a link to all of your work, to your website, to your books, especially because, ladies and gentlemen, they are free. The books are free and written in text form and audiobook form, which again, to me, is a huge deal. That's a big deal. And you have also a website that I was sent by, our connection here, Pierre, the website about, let's see here, pull it up. The benefits of ET Embassy. That is, I love the website. First of all, the design is great, but I looked at it and I mean, I'm interested in the entire website. Can you tell me more about that? Can you tell the audience about this website?
Well, the shape of the embassy was dictated to Rael through one of the first crop circles that appear. Then he decided to take an architect, and we start building it, or not building it, but designing it. And now we have a couple of designers on 3D and all that have made the visit of this embassy, which is beautiful. And this is where we want to welcome our creators from space, the Elohim. And in this embassy, when we will welcome them, it have to be with an extraterritoriality status that we have been asking the state of Israel already 7 times for the land where to build the embassy, and they have refused. This is why one of the ancient prime ministers of the state of Israel, Ehud Barak, mentioned that the survival of Israel will not go over 8 years. So now the state of Israel have already celebrated its 75th anniversary. So they have only 5 years. Otherwise, their land will be invaded and it will become Palestine again.
Now, I see everybody, if everybody can see on the screen, I have the embassy, the website up, and the embassy. It's beautiful. It's honestly a beautiful design, first of all. So I don't know if you can see that.
You can visit the inside as well, and it's something amazing. And when the Elohim will come, and we will be able to welcome them, if any country will give us the land to welcome them, then we have to be more pacifist before they arrive. And they will, when they will arrive, they will not stay probably there forever. So they will invite other civilizations.
There are more civilizations.
Well, they maybe have other civilizations on space, because there is an infinite universe, and there are many extraterrestrial civilizations up there, thousands and thousands and billions, because the universe is infinite. Like we say in Hebrew, the infinite is Ein Sof, which means there is no end. If there is no end, there is no beginning either. So life was always there in different forms. It means that maybe other civilizations, extraterrestrial civilization, they have maybe 4 arms and 8 legs, or I don't know, maybe 4 eyes. We don't know.
Right.
So the Elohim will welcome these pacifist also civilizations that we can understand and become one level. If we're lucky enough to reach that level of knowledge, of that level of love, we will be able to connect with these people. But if we don't, there is a law in the space that we will not be able, because we're going to auto-destruct ourselves without our aggressivity.
Like we're quarantined off from the rest of the galactic family, so to speak.
Yeah, because the Elohim are probably in contact with other civilizations, and they want to welcome them, and they want us maybe to go and visit them or whatever, But in the state of mind and the stupid attitude we have today, killing each other, how can you expect that they will go and visit another planet? Today, a white man kills a black because of the color of his skin.
Right.
Or the person, if he's yellow or different, they try to kill him, or homosexual or whatever. They try to kill them because they're not to their image, and they hate the people without even knowing them.
Right.
But it's more stupid than when soldiers go to war to kill others that they never have met.
Right.
It's a nonsense. It's an absolute nonsense what we're living on today on our planet.
We don't have to. The fact that today we don't even have to do that anymore. That's what really blows my mind.
It's all a system manipulated by a mafia. That's all.
Sick people run these programs to do that.
Recently someone called Arnaud in France, which is a multi-billionaire. He have, I don't know how many billions this man have. They figure out that if he give his fortune to the 68 million French people living in France, everybody will end with 9 million and something. So this man is going to live, the expectancy of life is going to be like ours. It doesn't going to live 1,000 years
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
spend
So
his money. How many
that much?
houses he needs? How many cars does he need? How much power does he need? So someone like that who have no consciousness to spend his money to help humanity, I mean, is not a human being. To the eyes of the Elohim, this man is not even worth it, the air that he breathes.
Right. Right. Because look at the damage that they're doing to humanity in the world that we live in.
Of course, they're destroying our planet. They hate each other, killing each other. Then, when there is an earthquake somewhere, they ask money to help the earthquake. But on the other way, maybe they provoke the earthquake with art.
Yeah, that's a good. That's yeah.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
it
look at
happens,
whales showing up, being whales, dolphins and whales beaching themselves more and more, and these people these biologists are saying, oh, they don't know if it's noise pollution or some kind of a disturbance, but it's confusing their communication and their navigation because they use echolocation for navigation, and it's confusing them, and some other mechanisms as well. They have a lot of sensory different senses to do. But
look how many species we have being destroyed. We have destroyed.
Yeah, annihilated completely.
Flowers and I mean, we're destroying the nature. It's very crazy. A humanity that have one planet destroying their own planet. And where are you going?
We have to change
this. Making so many bombs to kill what?
No.
To do what with?
This is why I think your message, and again, Michael Carter, people like Michael Carter, Dolly, for example, even Dolly, these messages that humanity needs to turn away from these ways, and the people that are telling us that this is the only way, because there is a totally different way to live, and these beings are trying to tell us that. They've been telling us that there's a coming catastrophe, and that if we don't change, it doesn't look too good for humanity. It doesn't look too good.
Not good at all.
So,
and I sincerely hope, we will reach more a level of consciousness and supra-consciousness to stop all this gimmick and start becoming humans again, to deserve the word humans.
Yeah, I hope the same thing, Rabbi. I want to say we're at the top of the hour here. We're at the end of the hour, but I did want to say we have got to have you back, because there's no way we got into all of what you have to offer. I can tell that you have so much more. So I want to say, is there anything else that you wanted to tell the audience for this first conversation that we had?
Well, before ending, when we will have the next interview, you will allow me to share my screen, and then I will show you all the citations, which I will send you before, that you will be aware of them, with the explanations that confirm the Elohim mentioned in the original Hebrew Bible are not a god, are an extraterrestrial civilization that created us, and they live on another planet. And they came here, they came many times, and they want to come back, and they want to be welcome by their children, with our humanity, because they created us and they love us, and they don't want us to destroy ourselves.
Fantastic. We will definitely schedule one very soon. As soon as you, I mean, if you can do another one next week, next month, doesn't matter to me. We can schedule
I'm available anytime.
Well, then we will schedule one for
ahead of time, because I have many interviews on my schedule. And what I recommend to each and every one of your auditors is that to go on rael.org, download the books, and read them, and make up their mind, asking themselves one question, as I mentioned before: what if this is the truth?
What if this is true?
Yeah.
Rabbi, thank you so much for your time.
Before we leave, I would like that we close our eyes and think of sending love to the entire humanity and all lives on earth for a short time, just to send these waves of love.
I encourage the audience to do the same. I'm going to do this right now. Just a moment.
We're going to do it together,
visualization.
Marquise.
Let's do this. Let's do it.
Please close your eyes and think of the entire humanity. Think about our planet. Think of our planet and all lives on our planet. animals, trees, plants, because everything is alive and everything is part of us. And let's send waves of love and energy to everyone, to all lives, to everyone we can imagine in any continent. Imagine faces and send love, because love is the only solution to our salvation. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. That was beautiful, man. I know the audience is going to love this conversation. They're definitely going to love the end where we sent out the love, because a lot of my listeners, they do the light practice, love practice, where they do prayer and they do meditations and they send out that positive energy. So what you just did, again, my audience is going to appreciate it. I appreciate it. And we appreciate your time today, Rabbi.
And I will send you the link where we can have, I can maybe put it on the chat for everyone. We have the 1 minute for peace.org that you can join and do meditations, with us every 59 minutes of every hour. Just think about sending love, that's all. And on another, I will send you also the link that we organize planetary meditations. Anyone is welcome to join us and meditate with us on the same purpose that we do it the second Saturday of every 2 months on Zoom as well. And I will send you the link. The next one is next Saturday, the 13th. Okay. So I will send you the information, and if you can share it with your audience, it will be great to have you on board.
I will absolutely put everything in the description. There's going to be a lot of information for everyone to follow Rabbi Leon Mellul, right? Say that correctly?
Right.
Got it. All right. Fantastic. And we will be talking soon again, and we will have more conversations and go into depth about some of the work that you are going to send me for our next talk.
Yeah. And if you can, we can arrange maybe one interview with the pastor. It will be great.
Yeah, absolutely. That is definitely going to be. I'll contact him right after this, and then we'll set something up for that.
He's a very special man, and they have a lot of knowledge as well. And I'm thanking you for inviting me to your broadcast, and it will be a pleasure to be with you again. And I thank you for your very open-minded person, full of love, and I really appreciate that.
My pleasure, Rabbi. And again, I thank you for your time. All right, everybody.
Will you be able to send me a copy of our
yes
of your record?
I will. I'm actually going to release it immediately. I usually release them every Wednesday. I'm going to release this right away, and I'll send you the link to it right away. I can also send you a Google Drive raw file, so you can distribute it however you want to. So
okay, thank you very much.
My
it was
pleasure.
A pleasure meeting you, and whenever you want, it will be a great to be together again and spread messages of peace and love to the entire humanity.
And to that, we will see you next time. Take care.